U.S. warplanes blasting away at Taliban targets in Afghanistan. But how much can be done from the air? Joining us with more on this is Ward Carroll, commander in the U.S. Navy and also author of Punk's War. Commander Carroll, thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, Rita. How are you doing?
Very well. I want to ask you, we've talked a lot about the Army, the Air Force. I want to talk to you about, obviously, the Navy's perspective. Navy has played a big role in this with the carrier operations. Kind of explain the role of the Navy in this operation.
Well, it's kind of not surprising, but it's amazing that at the end of the Cold War, we were wondering what the utility of carrier warfare was absent the Soviet threat. Obviously, having the ability to stick 3 or 4 aircraft carriers in the North Arabian Sea without any concern for sovereign nation concerns is a big plus. Naval aviation allows you to go places where you wouldn't otherwise be able to go and project power.
Now, you have 4 battle groups out there, to my knowledge. Why 4 battle groups? Explain to our viewers the significance of that.
Well, this sort of war is hard on the aviators, as you may imagine. For each sortie you fly, there's planning involved, there's briefing, debriefing. You try to get a little bit of sleep in there. Further, the flight deck crew is 1 deep. There's only 1 shift, as you see there in your picture. Those guys working on the flight deck crew work really long days, so it's nice to be able to do a stutter step with another carrier or 2 to allow somebody to fade back, get a little rest, and then come back to the front line and equally share the tasks of the war that way.
What do you see the Navy's next role being? We've sort of heard a little bit of a perspective on where we see the next areas being hit if we go to ground forces. What role will the Navy play in all of this?
Well, the Navy will play a close air support role. It'll play a tactical role in that modern means of communication allow us to flex to any sort of late-breaking threat. We've seen some of that already. With our ability to target vehicles on the move or tanks or whatever else we can respond to based on Northern Alliance information or any other information we get from other sources. So further, we'll keep pushing out our ability to bomb their command centers, and as our intelligence gets better and better, the target list, I'm sure, will keep growing, and we'll keep hitting those targets.
Do you think the experts are fighting too much out there? We hear the Army saying, look, we got to go in. We need ground forces saying the air power isn't enough. We have the Air Force saying, look, air power is doing just fine. How is this affecting public opinion?
Well, I don't really listen to the pundits too much. I tend to listen to the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I don't think you hear any sort of echoes of an absence of jointness there, of any sort of parochial sentiments.
No, but there seems to be a sense of each sort of branch wants to say, look, we can handle it alone.
Yeah, well, that's to be expected, I think. And I don't think you want a service saying we're not very good. They throw in their best pitch, and then it's arbitrated at levels above each one of the services, and the best service is called onto the job, or we do it jointly. You know, that's something we're really good at now, is Navy fighters launching off of aircraft carriers and hitting Air Force tankers and supporting Army Rangers on the ground. It's jointness is a matter-of-fact piece to what we do now.
Senator John McCain and some others have come out saying we need a more robust campaign, a stronger, a faster campaign. Do you agree?
Well, I'd watch the word faster. Remember, Rita, on September 11th, there was some question when at Ground Zero we were talking about resolve and the American psyche and this sort of consumer remote control society we have here. As you pointed out before the break, it's only been 6+ weeks since this started, and already we're starting to assert that we're bogged down somehow. From the president on down, we've said this is a long war. It's going to be a long war. Nobody has said that Ramadan is the end of any phase or the beginning of any phase. So I'd watch trying to tie a timeline with it. You know, war is a blunt instrument, and we need to make sure the American people remember what got us involved in this war and stay the course. And I think when you bring this kind of might to bear and you add to it the support of the American people, that's an unwinnable, or that's an unbeatable combination.
Defense Secretary Rumsfeld came out and said he would not rule out the use of ground forces, ground troops there on the ground. We obviously have special operations and special forces there in place, but a significant number. Do you think it's going to get to that point, and do you think that that will be effective and necessary?
Well, I don't know if it'll get to that point. I think it's fair for the Secretary of Defense to not rule that out. And I think there's nothing more to be read into that except we reserve the right to fight this war on any front at any level that it mandates. And I think that's he's trying to be as honest as possible with that statement.
What do you think of our strategy? Are we fighting to win right now?
Well, right now I think we got sort of a run and gun, to use football parlance. We're doing the thing we do well, the war we fought since Desert Storm, the war that my book deals with, the war of a joint air component command assigning targets and those being complied with by the forces and walking down a target list. And then you've seen a little bit of special ops component, a little surgical insert and extraction. I'm not sure it's ineffective at this point. And if it, as we do a assessment, if it demands a more robust strategy, as you say, then I'm sure we'll go there.
All right, Commander Carroll, thank you very much, and I enjoyed the title of your book, Punk's War. Thank you very much
Thank you,
for
Rita.
joining us. And straight ahead, we'll get you caught up on the anthrax trail with an update on all of the cases. Then we'll head to Pakistan, where our Mike Emanuel is standing by live. Mike?